Hello and welcome back to another lesson of the Logos and Letters. My name is Liam and it's been a little while. It's been, for me, 2 days and it feels like forever. I think I'm up to chapter 9. I think I've just started it. I'm about to just start it. So let me continue on from here. Epimenhun ton honton kai genomenonana ke tain katafasin tain apofasin alethe psudai anai. Right, so for existing things and things becoming actual, okay, so the only real distinction between these two is like thinking of a full-grown adult and a young child, okay? One is becoming the full actual self, and they've still got a lot of potential. You know, if you work with kids or if you have your own kids, you'll be able to see that for yourself quite clearly that, whenever you look at them, and consider their future, there's so much potential what they could be. For an adult, they usually find their niche, their way, or what they need to do, and they specialize, right? They actualize. So he's speaking about those things. He's speaking about, it's necessary that the affirmation and the negation be true. Actually, I've read this and I've taught this, haven't I? Well, I'm going to read over it again. It's pretty important, so why not? Maybe it was meant to be. So it's necessary for anything regarding these sorts of statements that they be true or false. Okay, so if you're speaking about the here and now, and you're using the prema, the onoma, right, the pure noun, the pure verb, you are speaking about things that are here and now. The truth is the closest to such situations. All right, we can actually observe X and articulate X, okay, and then what we said is true, okay. We can observe Y, all right. So I say you and I enter this scene, and I say there are many people in front of us. Okay, you can observe that. You can test it for yourself. It's just the best. It is where truth and falsity are so easy to distinguish, okay? So this is its own special category. I don't really like that green. I'm going to change colors just for a second. Let's try this one. All right, so these, I wanted the highlighter. These, special, true or false? Kayepimenton katholu hos katholu ayiten men alethe tende psude ainai. Same things, right? So, and we have it to universal things. Always be true or false universally. And I spoke about no exceptions. It has to be entirely the case, okay? Entirely the case. So we spoke about the singular. I can't remember exactly what words I said about that, but if I was to add further commentary in regards to the individuals, actually, I think he gives an example somewhere here. But anyway, you say you choose your singular, okay, and you say Caesar, or what's another more famous person? More recent famous. You can say Napoleon was a brilliant tactician and strategist. Okay, that's true. Why? Because I said was. Napoleon was. If I said Napoleon is a brilliant tactician and strategist, that's false. Why? Because he's a non-existent subject anymore. Right? So when it comes to the universals, you've got your own special rule where it's got to apply to every single case of what is being spoken about, whether it's the species or the genera. But when you're speaking about an individual, it changes. The burden becomes speaking in relation to the time, right? Prosemenai. You need to signify the time. You need to point out what time this predicate really belonged to that subject. All right. Ebideton katholu me katholu lektentonu kanake. Yeah, so he's already spoken. We have already spoken about what universally and not universally means, so we can just move on. All right. Ebideton katakastakai melonton. Here it becomes different, right? The individual, and the individual thing. It can be an event too, of course. Doesn't just have to be people. But I thought I'd just clarify that. Kai melonton homoios, right? So it's not the same. Here's where it gets different, right? This has all been pretty clear. This, all right, this sentence here is where all things change in chapter 9. Igar pasakataphasis kai apophasis alethes absurdes, right? Here's the first conditional. He sets up the first conditional. For if the affirmation and negation are true or false, every, I should have stressed that, it's an important point, every affirmation, negation are true or false, and they always must, and necessarily, these must apply or not apply, okay, the truth or falsity, or belong or not belong, okay, or underlie or not underlie. It's hard to tell which of those possible translations is striking the right chord, which the philosopher would have preferred, or perhaps he just wouldn't care as long as we say any of them. All right, so here's the conditional. If it is so the case that your affirmation, no matter what it is, or your negation, what it is always necessarily true or false, that opens up a door. Let's walk through that door. Hostai homen fesa estestai ti, or ho de me fesai to auto tuto, delon hoti anache alethuainton heteronauton. Right, so if someone says, this will be or it won't be, then it's necessary, delon, it's clear that it's necessary that it's telling the truth, one of them, okay? So you said, the boat will sink tomorrow. The boat will sink tomorrow. The boat will not sink tomorrow. So one of those is true. Right? He's opened the door, we're walking through it now. He said, oh, look, all of them got to be necessarily true or false. And you just said something about the future. It's got to be true or false. That leads us to another door that we walk to. It's called fatalism, determinism. I pasakataphasis kai apophasis alethes ipsudes, right? For it, like if all affirmations and negations are true or false. Amfogaruk hu parksai hamma epitois tultois. So because both at the same time, will not belong. Huparksai. At the same time. Okay, epitois tultois. In regards to such things, such declarations about the future. Igar lethesipain hoti lukon. I think this is new territory for us. For if it is true to say that it is white, or that not white it is, necessarily it's necessary for it to be white or not white, right? If I look here and I say her, I don't even know what you call this. Her hat is white. Okay, it's necessary that it's white or not white. Right? It can't be white and not white. Okay, only one. All right. Her hat will be white tomorrow. Right? Necessarily, we're now thinking that it's got to be white or not white tomorrow. Let's continue on. Kai esti lukon lukon alethes ein phanai apophanai. So, if I said the hat's white tomorrow, and you said the hat is not white tomorrow, one of us, right? Because we've got the affirmation negation between us. One of us is correct tomorrow, right? Comes over, and it is not white. Okay, she dyed it some color maybe. Okay, she's dyed it a nice light blue or something. Okay, she got this fancy hat. Everyone loves it. All right. So you were right yesterday. You told the truth yesterday, apparently. Right? It was true to say yesterday that her hat will not be white tomorrow. Fatalism looms large here. Fatalism looms large. Let's continue on. Alethes enfanai e apophanai kai me you parkai pseudodai. Right? And for me, I told a lie yesterday. I told a lie. I said, I actually can't remember if I said it won't be white. Yeah, I said it'll be white tomorrow. Okay, so I lied. All right, I lied. I lied yesterday. You told the truth. Kai psudatai ukyu parkai, right? And because I lied, it doesn't belong today. White doesn't belong to the hat today. Hosana kai dein katafasine, dein apofasina lethe anae psude. Okay? And thus it's necessary that either the negation or the negation be true or false. Okay, so he's just reset out this condition here. This condition, he just re-articulated it by giving an example. Okay. I know it's got a lot of oohs in it. All right. So how should we do this? Let me read it all out and then I'll translate, explain. Right? So this is what happens if all of this is true. If we've just established that what he said is true and that makes sense and that's how the universe works, this is what happens. This is what follows, okay? Therefore, ara. Ara can mean more things than just therefore, okay? But here it means therefore. Nothing, therefore, is coming about by chance, and nor according to chance happens. Right? So if translated freely, what he's saying is but from this, one would wonder if nothing is or nothing came about by chance or according to chance or according to some particular random event. Right? So if it's true that yesterday one of us actually did tell the truth at that time, that means it was fixed in the future that it was going to be that case. And if it was fixed in the future it was going to be that case, then nothing happens by chance. Let me explain that differently. Actually, we're close to the end, so I may as well just finish it and then explain it. Egar hofas alethusai e hoapofas. Right? So the one affirming or the one denying, the one speaking or the one speaking against, was telling the truth. Homoios garan egignato e uk egignato. Right? For the very thing that happened by chance, this is hard to put into smooth English. This part here. It's for what might by chance have happened or not have happened, comma, therefore the same thing by chance, not more so or not so it has. Right? He's saying that in this way, what he's saying about it has is truth, okay? Truth. That's what if you inject truth into this sentence, it actually makes a lot of sense. He's saying, it doesn't really matter that something quote unquote happened by chance. Doesn't matter at all, right? Get rid of that speak about chance. It wasn't chance. That's an illusion in this situation. All chance and randomness is an illusion in this situation, right? It's out the window now, because the only thing here is necessity. Let me explain. It's just before chapter 13, I think, the end of chapter 12. Where is it? I swear it's here or something. Yeah, I reckon it's right here. Iga restin anthropos aletes. Yes, this is it. This is the key. This is the key to unlocking everything that we've just been speaking about. Okay, this part right here. Iga restin anthropos aletes hologos hoi legomen hoti estin anthropos. If there is X, then, and you articulate that there is X, your articulation is true, then it was only true because X was the case. All right? In this thought experiment that he's thrown at us, He's saying your articulation was already true before the circumstance, the state of being, the action, you name it, happened. And if that's true, the universe is on a fixed, unalterable course. Think about, like, I wish I had an artwork of it. If you've read, I think it's the Iliad at the start where, or the Odyssey actually. I think it's the Odyssey actually, yeah. At the start where, Zeus is sitting on his throne in Olympus, and Thetis, she's weeping, she's clasping Zeus's knees, her hair is on his lap, and she's got one hand on his beard, asking to spare her descendant's life, her son's life, and Zeus nods. That can't happen in this situation. There is no prayer that can change anything. There is no resourcefulness. There is no man of many ways, Odysseus, a man of many wiles, or of the turning mind that can change anything. There's no determination or effort. There's nothing. It's just a fixed course, right? And if you say something, like if I say humans will be on Mars in 1,000 years, or actually, I know that sounds silly, in 10 years. Humans will be on Mars in 10 years. Right now it's true if it happens in 10 years. But that goes against what he was saying up here. I'm not going to fully flush this out because it'd be better for me to explain it later on. Okay? What he's saying is he's wrong here. He is wrong here if this is true. If everything is fixed and there is no free will, even, it's like a series of dominoes, and the first one has fallen, and all of them are falling. All right, and it's just one event after another event. If someone is injured and you're praying for a speedy recovery, your prayers don't count for nothing. If you're stressed and you think your business is falling apart, your stress doesn't even matter. Your effort doesn't matter. It was always going to either fail or not fail. And if you said it's going to fail, okay, or if it's going to succeed, then it was either true or false to say that, and it's already occurred in a way. Because if the pragma and the articulation correlate, if the event and the articulation correlate, then the event is sort of already existing and we're just catching up in a way. And if it's already existing in a way, that means that they're just dominoes and we're waiting to get to them. That's what he's setting up here. And it's reasonable. Some people do believe in this. Right? And we're going to continue on. That's the end of this lesson. I'm going to leave it on a cliffhanger. Right? I've already sort of sprinkled in some stuff from future lessons here. But I haven't spoiled anything. If anything, I've strongmanned the position of, or I've made it seem even more important, this whole thought experiment. Right now, if you're a Christian and you're listening to this, or a Muslim or a Jew, you're thinking, how the hell, right? Almost, literally, how the hell. That's probably one of the few times that saying how the hell actually makes entire sense. How the hell does providence fit in with this, if this is the case? How does free will, how does scripture fit in with this, if this is the case? Right? And that is excellent thinking. It'll burn your brain out, but that is excellent thinking. So I'm going to leave it there, and we'll pick up again with the next part in the next lesson. Look, before I completely wrap this up, let me give you some more thought experiments which match what he's saying right now. Just so everybody's all across the board on this. If I say the the boat will sink next year. Remember how we're looking at that boat long ago? Where is it? The boat will sink tomorrow, right? The articulation must be true or false when I said it. If it is true and the truth of a thing and the truth of a statement correlate, then they're actually not even prior or posterior in a way. They're sort of simultaneous. And that means that the pragma is already in some future state existing. And that our understanding of time and entropy is wrong. And that the fate, the future is already like a fixed road that we're walking down. The trees have already grown, right? The architecture is already built and it's just for us to walk through it. I'll give you one more. The dog will bark tomorrow. If I could somehow find out if that's actually true to say, then that means the dog barking tomorrow is a fixed reality. It's going to happen. Okay? So some might think that, is the truth just one articulation away from shaping the course of things? That's another route you can go down. The Archangel Michael would have something to say about that particular point. What can we even say about that one future affirmative affirmation when the tempter in the Eden says, you will be like gods, knowing good and evil. Right? Where is that? I've got an artwork of something like that. You will be like gods, knowing good and evil. Right? The tempter. You will be like gods, knowing good and evil. What do we make of that? Because if they do know good and evil, and they do become like gods, then was it always fixed in the future that was going to happen and there's nothing that those two could do to avoid it? We'll resolve it piece by piece. We'll go through this piece by piece. Hope you can see the importance of it. I hope you can see the what's on the line. That's the expression I was looking for. I hope you can see what's on the line here. Okay, what's at stake. So with that, I will see you in the next lesson. I hope you've enjoyed. As always, my name is Liam. Si semper fortis in opere tuo. And I'll see you next time.